What is up, fraud fighters? Okay, in part one, you heard how fraud fighters are describing the current state of fraud: acceleration, chaos, fractured, explosive. And honestly, none of those words felt exaggerated. But this part of the conversation mattered just as much to me because after asking people, what fraud feels like right now, I asked them something different. I said, "What is something your team does that you're really proud of?" And the answer shifted, less fear, less pressure, more purpose. You start hearing words like collaboration, communication, empathy, innovation, not perfect solutions, just people who genuinely care about protecting others and figuring out this all together in real time. And that's what stood out to me most at Fraud Fight Club this year. Not just the technology, not just the AI conversations, which, are happening a lot now. Not even the tactics, but it's the people. People willing to share ideas, people willing to admit that they don't have every answer, right? People building relationships outside of their own institution because they know that fraud is too big to fight alone. You'll hear that theme over and over in these conversations, cross-functional teamwork, 314B information sharing, fraud teams working closer with AML, law enforcement working closer with financial institutions, and underneath all of it, a growing realization that fraud is not just a transaction problem, it's a human problem. You're going to hear clips from fraud leaders talking about proactive outreach, member communication, AI, prevention strategy, operational agility, and the importance of empathy in moments where people are often at their most vulnerable. And honestly, it left me hopeful. Not hopeful because fraud is slowing down, because it's not, but hopeful because the people fighting it are evolving too. And, before we get into the rest of the interviews and conversations from Fraud Fight Club, I want to start this episode with 3 interviews that really capture, I think, the big picture of where the industry is right now. 3 very different perspectives, but all connected by the same underlying theme. We cannot fight this alone anymore. What's up, fraud fighters? A quick pause before we jump into today's episode because I want to point to you a blog that I think cuts through a lot of noise that's happening right now around AI agents in banking. There's been a ton of hype lately about AI replacing analysts and fully autonomous investigations, but Ken Zamir over at Sardine wrote a blog that actually explains what an Anthropic-powered KYC agent really is and what it isn't. And the part that I appreciated most about it is that it doesn't frame AI like magic, it frames it like infrastructure. Because fraud teams don't need another flashy demo. We need systems that help investigators move faster, document decisions better, reduce that manual review fatigue, and still keep humans in control where it matters. The blog walks through what these agents are actually doing behind the scenes, how they interact with KYC workflows, where human oversight still matters, and why governance, auditability, and operational design matter just as much as the model itself. So if your institution is trying to separate real operational AI from marketing buzzwords, this is worth your time. So check out Hen's article, Anthropic KYC Agent, what it actually is. I'll have it linked in the show notes. And so let's get into the episode. So first, you'll hear from Paul Raphael talking about where the industry is heading, why collaboration outside the walls of financial institutions matter more than ever, and the importance of shifting left before the scammers ever reach the bank. I also got to hear Paul recently in person again at IFCI Connecticut, and top-notch human. Then Mark Evans will come on. He brings the conversation back to something we sometimes forget in all the AI and analytics discussions, and is that fraud is still a human problem. And finally, Kit Boga. Yes, you heard that right. The Kit Boga, who honestly represents one of the most unique voices, I think, in this space. He's someone who's actively innovating, experimenting, and engaging directly with these scammers in ways most organizations simply can't. But he'll be on sharing a little bit of those insights that he has as well. And, these conversations really set the tone for everything else that you're going to hear in this episode. So let's jump right in. Paul, we are here at Fraud Fight Club Round 3, and first of all, thank you so much for all you do in the industry. I'm a big, huge fan of yours, and just happy to have you join me today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Okay. So again, we're Fraud Fight Club Round 3. This is your second year?
Yes, back again.
Yeah, me too. Last year was really cool. This year, something feels a little different. What would you say about this year compared to last?
I think there's two big things. First, there's momentum building, which I feel really optimistic about. Secondly, we're seeing just a more shift towards AI, technology. That's a big change in this industry too.
Yeah, I think it's one of those that it's like, hey, technology can be really cool. It's also really scary. How do we make sure that we can combat this effectively? And so those are some really interesting conversations that I'm hearing around the event this year.
Yeah, I think that's where we need to catch up on. Because, right, the fraudsters, the scammers, they are way ahead when it comes to technology. They are using systems that, it'll take us 2 years to even adopt here. So really interested to see the solutions that are here and also the challenges that we're facing these days too.
Yeah. Okay. So were there any sessions in particular that maybe you joined or spoke on? If you did a deep dive, that there was a lot of, back and forth or collaborative conversation that really, you enjoyed the most?
Yeah. I think we all kind of know this, but, financial institutions are at the back end of when a fraud or scam happens.
Right.
And there's 90% of the scam before that. And, thinking about how to shift left of bang, we're having great conversations about how to engage with social media platforms, messaging services, telecommunications. And I think that's a big part of the equation too.
Absolutely. So if you could tell one person who's like on the fence of like, maybe Fraud Fight Club is just too cool for me. Maybe they just had too much fun there, and it's not really a conference because they're all just hanging out. What would you say to that person who's maybe looking for budget for the CEO? That's like, I don't think you should go there, or whatever. What would you say?
Check out the agenda. There is so much valuable information that we see on the agenda. The speakers are amazing. It's like the fraud Avengers are all here. Yes. It's really wonderful.
I love that. I'm so glad that you joined me. So glad that you're here again to bring us your information. Is there any thing that you want to say specifically about the SCAM program that you're building as well? I'd love to kind of have some teaser knowledge about it.
Yeah, so what we're trying to build here is a scam education program for youth specifically.
Yeah.
We know that they are being targeted by so many different scams nowadays than what we're used to. Financial sextortion being one of them, the primary one, and probably the most dangerous scam that there is out there. Sure. So just trying to put out recommendations, prevention, and guidance to prevent these incidents.
Mark, welcome to Fraud Fight Club Round 3.
Yes.
Is this is your second time?
My second time, yes. I came last year too, so.
Yeah. What's the difference, do you think, between last year and this year?
Last year, what I really like about it is, for this year, what I really like about it is kind of the shorter main stage ones, because it gives people more time to connect, like really connect. It gives more time for the deep dives that we got going on, because I think this is probably the best networking conference that I've been able to attend.
Yeah.
And everyone here was like really passionate about taking the fight to fraud. But between last year and this year, that's what I like the best.
Yeah, for sure. So I just had the honor of attending your and Jen Lamont's session on collaboration. Number one, phenomenal presentation. The two of you together really showed what collaborative efforts can do as far as bringing together a full investigation from credit union needing a law enforcement and law enforcement actually responding. Yeah. That was one of your call outs. Yeah. So I just want to say, any highlights that you want to give for people that maybe missed that session of like, what were the key points and takeaways from that?
I think the first key point is not being afraid to reach out. I know sometimes there's that fear of, if I contact this person, they're not going to respond. And my response was in a matter of a minute through a third party. It wasn't even directly between Jen and I. Jen reached out to someone who was able to reach out to me. And within a matter of 5 to 10 minutes, we were in contact with each other. And so I would say, don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to use your network. LinkedIn is a great network. Sure. A lot of us are connected on there.
Changed my career.
Right. It changed my career.
Yeah.
So I would say, don't be afraid to take that first step, and don't be afraid to talk to each other and be real with each other. We like to be professional about all things, but we have to actually have true, real conversations about what we can and can't do, both from the law enforcement side and from the FI side. And if we don't have those real conversations, then we'll never get forward in fighting fraud.
Yeah. So I have a fun question for you. Earlier, I was interviewing someone and they said that this conference or this Fraud Fight Club feels like it's the fraud Avengers that are coming in. And as our own fraud hero, who would you say is if you were the fraud Avenger, which Avenger would you be?
Oh, if I was a fraud Avenger, I'm a Captain America fan myself. I'd be Captain America. Can I show my socks? Look,
Please do.
I got the Captain. Look, show the socks.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
I got the Captain America socks on. But I definitely would equate myself to Captain America. I'm not Iron Man. Now I'm a big nerd, so don't get me talking on this stuff.
I love it.
But I
literally
would say,
surrounded by nerds. There was somebody yesterday that referenced Harry Potter in their session.
Yes.
Come on, we're a
I love Harry
nerds.
Potter too.
Same.
But I would definitely go Captain America because I feel like I'm more grounded. I'm not really tech based, and I feel like I'm not Iron Man because I don't think everything is tech based.
Yeah.
And I think fraud is not just a tech problem. I think it's a human problem.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what Captain America encapsulates, is showing the human side of being a hero. And that's what I like to do. I like to be humble. I humbled myself on stage today. I said, hey, I didn't respond to a message 2 weeks prior. So that's what I would have created myself to.
Yeah, and I think you really show the true value that us fraud fighters are, and you represent it so well, where it's truly mission oriented. Captain America is that. It's all for the greater good, and I can see that in a lot of what you do, especially with how you approach victims empathetically, how you collaborate effectively, and like truly we appreciate having someone like you in law enforcement that shows that it can be done. Also that shows us it's okay. Reach out, make those connections, because as much as we want to, fraud investigators at a financial institution, we don't have the authority to arrest anyone. But we can call friends that can.
That's right.
So I truly appreciate it. I appreciate you joining me today. Any parting words or thoughts from Captain America for fraud fighters?
I'll quote Captain America in this, and this was in, I believe, the first Avengers movie. Me, my nerd stuff. In the movie, no, it actually wasn't. It was Civil War. And in the movie, Captain America says, well, what if we fail? And he goes, well, we'll fail together.
Yep.
And I think that should be the mindset of everyone. If we succeed, we'll succeed together. But if we fail, at least we tried and we failed together, and we didn't fail apart.
I'm going to cry. You're the best, Mark. Thank you so much for joining me, and thanks for being a part of Fraud Fight Club.
Well, thank you. I'm having fun being here.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even know how to begin, but Kit Boga. Hi.
Hi.
You're here at Fraud Fight Club. But first of all, thank you for agreeing to chat with me, even for a quick second. I appreciate it so much. You are one of those in the industry that it's great because you help the fraud fighters get validation from the everyday consumer, because they're like, oh, that guy, he messes with the scammers. And we're like, yes, that guy. So first of all, I want to ask super quick, just to, how did that even come about? What made you start that?
Yeah. 9 years ago now, which is kind of crazy to say.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
9 years ago, I got the tech support scam, if you're familiar with it, the fake virus pop-up that says,
of course,
Microsoft, your computer's been hacked.
Yeah.
I saw the phone number, I called it, and immediately some guy told me that my computer has viruses on it, that he was in my computer right now. And then I knew that it was a scam.
Right.
I hung up the phone, but I thought my grandma 100% would fall for it. Alzheimer's, dementia.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I got to do something. So I just started calling the numbers when I had free time, usually on the weekends. And I figured if I spent 10 minutes on the phone, that was 10 minutes they weren't scamming someone's grandma. And eventually a clip wound up on Reddit, and it blew up.
It just took off.
It just took off.
And everybody knows
That's why I got the glasses.
Yeah.
Originally I didn't wear the glasses.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's people watching me. I gotta hide.
They gotta hide. Yeah. No one can know who I am.
And now it's just the thing.
And you make us cool to kids too. My kids are like, oh, you know Kit Boga? And I'm like, oh yeah,
we're tight.
We are so tight. You see him, he pointed at me in the picture, not the other way around.
Yes. Exactly.
So I'd love to know, obviously Fraud Fight Club, there's a lot of hype here.
Yes.
But they've seemed to back it up each time. So I would just love your initial thoughts on Fraud Fight Club whenever you got involved. I know that you were here last year.
Yes.
And just want your thoughts on it.
Yeah, last year was my first year. It was actually probably one of my first 3 or 4 fraud conferences.
Oh, wow.
At all.
That was like your first experience of a fraud conference?
Yeah.
They set the bar really high.
Yes, and it is by far my favorite conference that I've been to, and I think it's genuinely the people, like meeting you, meeting so many, Ian Mitchell, like there's just so many really good people. I got the Karen from M&T hug, right? And it's like, it feels
it's
more
aggressive, that Karen hug. Yeah.
It feels like I don't know, fraternity isn't the right word.
Right.
But that's what it felt like to me. It's a club. Yes.
It's a club.
Thank you. It didn't feel like a conference. It felt like, and I think I said it up on stage this year, but like I'm so proud and honored to like be welcomed in and to join the fight with you guys. Yeah. There are so many people here doing really good work. And so I think that's the other reason why I like coming here and mingling with everyone is like, how can we actually fight together? Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of people where we're talking the same language, we're trying to do the same thing, solve the same problems, maybe from different angles. Yeah. But some of the other places, I mean, there's good conferences, don't get me wrong, but you don't always find that like camaraderie. Maybe that's a good word. Like we're in this together.
For sure.
I hope that wasn't too long of an answer.
No, I love that answer. I think it's a perfect answer. And I'm going to let you go right after this question. No. I had someone earlier say that Fraud Fight Club felt like the fraud Avengers have assembled.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, if you were a fraud Avenger, which one would you be?
Oh my God, this is embarrassing. I don't know any of the Avengers.
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding.
Oh my
Please don't put this on the internet.
I won't. We'll take that out.
I'm just kidding. No, you can put it on the internet. It's funny. Okay. I genuinely couldn't name a single Avenger.
Thor?
Oh, okay.
Iron Man?
Okay, fine.
Black Hawk? No,
I would be
Hawkeye.
I do like the Norse mythology.
Yeah.
So Thor, I guess. The Hammer of Justice. I don't know.
Hammer of Justice. Come on. Like,
hitting the scammers with
hitting the scammers and like coming in as like the, you know, when Thor comes in and like it's the big circle or whatever, you see the whole,
Yeah. Yep.
You know, I kind of feel like that is you. You could be the Thor of Fraud Fight Club.
I appreciate that. I only know a little bit of what that entails now, but no, I also I see myself, and maybe I'm overstepping here, but sometimes like I get a chance to, I say I have even the privilege to, because of things like YouTube, get up there and like try crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And see what works. It's like being able to prototype and innovate and see what happens, and then come here and say, guys, I tried some cool things.
Yeah.
Here's what worked. Here's what didn't. Here's what the scammers fell for. Here's what I learned. And I think it's sometimes a little bit harder for a bank to just like try crazy stuff. So anyway.
It definitely is. So you inspire all of us, and you also do the things that we wish we could do. Between you and the movie Beekeeper, and they blow up the I was like, oh, there's some sort of a validation there that I probably shouldn't feel pleasure from. But I do.
Yes.
So at the same time, you do that for us, and I just want to say, like, from one fraud fighter to obviously another, thank you for all that you do, and thanks for obviously contributing your time to us at Fraud Fight Club, and then to the little bit of a podcast here today.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Appreciate it.
Obviously, I'm a longtime fan of The Noble and everything there, obviously, with the human aspect, that empathy, that really, truly understanding that there's a human behind every transaction. So a question that I've been asking everyone today, and what I think will be really great coming from you, is what is something that your team does well that you're really proud of? But I think, like, obviously, it's the Noble Network itself, too. So you can speak specifically to the team and also the network if there's some really cool stuff going on.
Well, the network just continues to surprise me. We had a little coffee meeting this morning, and I just like, I get to meet people from all over the world now, but I get to meet people that it's gone far beyond just Ian and a small team. The network itself is an organism that literally is like recruiting other people and opening their minds and giving them tools. I mean, it's just become, I think that's the coolest part about me, is like back in 2018, it was an idea. And now it literally is a group of people with like-minded kind of beliefs that our job really matters. And that's the part I love. We're doing the World Cup project coming up, and we did the calculator on scams, on the ROI. I mean, so many neat tools there that I'm hearing actually being used, like the scam calculator. I mean, we have a money muling calculator. I mean, these are actually tools that people are putting in place, and I love that. But I just, coming up and getting hugs from people that I don't even know, but they're just realizing that their job matters. It's like, that to me is the best part about what I get to do.
Yeah, I think probably one of my favorite things that you say anytime that you go on stage to talk about the noble and the work that's being done is you say the noble is, well, it's all of you.
That's right.
And when you say that, it truly, I think, speaking from somebody that comes from the audience, but also someone that's been able to participate in some of the initiatives, some of the conversations being had with the webinars and whatnot, but being able to hear that and feel truly that I can be a part of something that's bigger than myself, that I can bring this crazy knowledge that we have that's like, why do I even have this knowledge, but use it for the better good, and that it can actually benefit someone. We can use it to be collaborative. We could use it to be innovative and really partner with others to truly understand what's going on. I want to call that out, that I just love that that's how you always start it, because it means so much to us that's sitting in the crowd.
You are an embodiment of that. And then Donna Turner won a big award.
Yes,
and she's
so
like,
excited for
I mean, yeah,
her.
she's also that. It's like we work with so many good people in our industry. And
Yes.
it's awesome. And I have to just tell you,
I literally
and-
just got
I
chills.
love you too.
I love her
she's
so
a-
much. She's the best.
But there's so many of them. Like, these are the leaders that exist. But then the next wave of leaders, I hate to say it, are going to be 10 times better than all the old ones like me that have been around for a while. And so you all, I mean, the future of fighting fraud looks bright. And with PJ and Ronald leading the charge, and then the party you guys threw the other night at the house.
Yeah.
I mean, just the house party of fraud fighters. That was
Yeah.
so cool. I mean, it just is. It is just such a great community now. It's a great career. I met with a young woman who just got out of college last night, and she found herself in fraud, and she's so excited.
Yeah.
What a career to jump into. It truly is full of meaning, purpose, and a whole lot of great people.
Absolutely. And it's all because of the leaders like you, though, that have taken the time to bring us newbie fraud fighters up under your wings and really help guide and lead. I'll always credit you for pulling me out of that moment of despair in my life as a fraud fighter. You
Yeah.
know, sometimes days get really hard, but you were like, Haley, there's a whole world out here of fraud fighting and things that we could do together. And I will forever be grateful to that. So thank you, Frank McKenna, Marianne, the knowledge that you guys are willing to share. It's been insurmountable. Like, you guys, we are grateful.
Yeah, well, I love you too. And it's going to take a complex network, complex solutions to fight a complex problem. And with folks like you and so many others, we're going to be in great shape. So thank you, Haley.
Absolutely. One final question.
Okay.
I was talking with someone earlier today, and they reference Fraud Fight Club as the place where the fraud avengers assemble.
Yeah.
If you were a fraud avenger, who do you think you'd be?
Oh, I don't know. What I can tell you is at the gym, the nickname for me at the gym when I walk in, they all scream Batman.
What is something that your team does well that you're proud of?
One thing that our team, I think, does really, really well is find fraud rings for our customers. I think we have really interesting data that helps us on the auto lending side and personal lending side. It covers over 650 different lenders. So we're able to kind of find those patterns that hit lenders that they don't see on their own portfolios. I think we do a really good job. Our fraud team, that's all they do all day is try to find those patterns. So I think we do that good. I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's cool. Last question for you. Earlier, I was interviewing someone, and they said they described Fraud Fight Club as it's like where the fraud avengers assemble. And so I'm curious, if you were an avenger, which one would you be?
You know what's embarrassing? I don't even know one Avenger name.
Really?
Why don't you tell me who you think I would be? That's probably better.
Well, so, we had Iron Man, and he's really techie.
Okay. Is it like a superhero?
Yeah, superhero. So you even think X-Men if you won. Which or the Marvel. What do you think?
What about the Wonder Twins?
There you go.
Because I'd be the Wonder Twins with Marianne Miller.
Oh, yes.
Because we work together so long, and we each complement each other really well, and so I think together we're a better force than we are individually. So
100.
That's why maybe the Wonder. Was the Wonder Twins a guy and a girl, or two? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Maybe it doesn't matter. But
doesn't
the Wonder
matter.
Twins.
It's whoever you want it to be. It's you and Marianne now. Thank you so much for joining me, Frank. I really appreciate it.
This has been fun. Thanks,
Thank you.
Haley.
What's up, fraud fighters? Quick question. I've asked it, but I'm going to continue asking it. How many times have you been asked, how do we compare to our peers? And if we're being honest, how confident did you feel answering that? because most fraud leaders today are trying to benchmark using call reports, vendor reports, or conversations with peers. And while some of that data is helpful, it rarely tells the full story. That's exactly why we launched the FI Fraud Benchmarking Survey for credit unions and community banks. This isn't just about fraud losses. We're capturing, staffing and workload, alerts and case volume, program maturity, executive reporting, technology, and operational realities. Because two institutions can have the same losses and operate completely differently behind the scenes. And that context matters. So again, this survey is fully anonymized and aggregated, administered by a third-party provider, built to create benchmarking data fraud leaders can actually trust. So if you work in a credit union or community bank under $10 billion in assets, we'd love your participation. The link again is in the show notes. Let's build something this industry has needed for a long time. Fraud evolves, and so do we. What is something your team does really well that you're proud of?
My team is able to ask questions when we don't know the answer. So the clearinghouse in my organization is only a year old, right?
Yeah.
And I was, then that's my work anniversary too, right?
Oh, nice.
And so there's a lot of payment, I think, level information and some of the specifications that you can really dig into, like the rules and the operating rules and the interpretations.
Yeah.
And there's just so much paperwork that I think it's impossible for anyone to know. And I think that it is a really important skill to say, hey, maybe play the new guy card, maybe just say, hey, I don't know what's going on, or if you could just tell me a little bit more detail and I'm happy to circle back. But it is an important skill to have. It helps to build that credibility and also helps to make sure that we're solving the problems as accurately as we can for our clients.
I love that so much and appreciate it. Okay, final question.
Sure.
Earlier in the day, I interviewed someone and they referred to Fraud Fight Club as where the fraud avengers assemble. If you were a fraud avenger, who would you be?
I'd be you. But I think if we're saying Marvel, like Marvel Avengers.
Yeah, Marvel Avengers.
Okay, so I've taken this test. I've taken many. I'm a nerd.
Same.
I've taken the test. I've had AI tell me who would I be. I've asked my wife this question. It's all kind of funny that we're talking about now. Captain America.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's just the. I tend to find myself in leadership positions. I tend to be able to move people together and put and also maintain strong moral and ethical perspectives when moving to bring everyone together. I think that would resonate. I think he resonates with me really well.
I agree. But my first choice for you is actually Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah, just because the precision, first of all, right? I mean, he comes in and he just like saves the day, but also the loyal aspect of Hawkeye. Like he's really true to his team and his family.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what we are in
So
fraud fighting.
I just watched the Civil War Avenger movie, and when he goes to save the Scarlet Witch, he's like, so all of this is just falling apart without me, huh?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now you get it. Yeah.
Right.
So being in fraud, I know that also our team matters, right? And our team does some pretty remarkable things. One of my favorite questions I've been able to ask, over the last 2 days is, what is something your team does really well that you're proud of?
They do exceptionally well with member contact and communication. They're not afraid to pick up the phone, reach out to a member, because
Such a good quality.
That's the fastest way to resolve it. And also, you receive a lot of positive feedback from that. And, sometimes people will say, oh, of course it was me, not be as happy about it. But 9 times out of 10, you get a very grateful response from that.
I love that. And I think it shows truly also the value of explaining the why. Yeah. Like, hey, we're calling because this seems odd. It lets them understand, oh, well, maybe you are protecting me, right? Yeah. And it also helps to kind of rationalize what the financial institution is doing to protect them. Mm-hmm. If you were a fraud avenger, which one would you be?
I would have to go with Hulk. Oh. Because every time we have a problem, we just smash it.
Yeah, that's right.
So just smash all the walls in the way.
I love it. Hulk smash. Okay. I love that question of, if you were a superhero or if you were a fraud avenger, who would you be? I think it's just a fun way to end an interview. But listen closely, and it actually tells you a lot about how someone approaches this work. You know, Captain America, Batman, the Wonder Twins, Thor, Hulk. Although honestly, I still think Frank McKenna might actually be Vision. But, you know, there's leadership, preparation, partnership, persistence, smashing through problems when you have to. Different personalities, different styles, same mission. And honestly, that might be the best summary of Fraud Fight Club that I could give. A bunch of people from completely different backgrounds, bringing different strengths to the table and realizing we're all trying to solve the same problem, right? So for the rest of this episode, I want to take you through more of these conversations. You're going to hear about communication, collaboration, again, that operational agility, AI empathy, prevention strategy, and what fraud teams are doing right now to adapt to an environment that keeps changing underneath them. And more than anything, you're going to hear people who genuinely care about this work. So here they are. Since of the fraud space, this is a question I've been asking everyone. What's something that your team does really well that you're proud of?
So we've been actually deploy the use of AI and actually using it. A lot of companies say they're using it and they're on the journey there. We've actually completed the journey and we are seeing real-time ROI results on this. It's able to be to take a team of 2 analysts and act like a team of 10, all right? In our world, we have lots of data, like everybody has lots of data, and we're able to really use that tool along with the analysts to get to a position we could never get to before.
Very cool. I think it's great. I know that AI is one of those things that it's hard to adopt for the smaller organizations because there's that fear of replacing your teams. But in reality, it's not it at all.
No, it actually created some more work for us. You know, not enough that we can't manage, but, you know, it definitely created some more work, which means we found more risk. It's not a bad thing.
No, it definitely want to detect it before it becomes blatantly obvious in your losses.
It's moved us way left, right? Which is a great scenario for us, right? We don't want to be reactive. We want to be predictive. That's where AI has helped us.
Yeah. I love that so much. I'm really excited to ask this question, mainly because of how you introed, like what led in, you know, your career and what you do. But what does your team do really well that you're very proud of?
Oh, they're just passionate. They are passionate about protecting our members and protecting our credit union. They are just as passionate about stopping somebody who's coming in to defraud us of a large loan as they are about stopping somebody from taking out $1,000 to give to a tech support scam. They're just so passionate and caring. I love my team. I'm obsessed with them.
I love that. I think that we should all be obsessed with our teams. And if we're not, then maybe it's not the right team and we need to get the right people in the right seats so that we can, fight fraud, but we can all do it passionately, happily, with the right empathy, and to remember that there's a human behind the transaction.
Exactly. 100%.
What is one thing your team does that makes you really proud?
Collaborate. Second line risk management, collaboration is key. You have to be able to collaborate with other risk partners because fraud is one risk discipline, but it also touches data risk, technology risk, cyber risk. So you have to be able to collaborate cross-functionally with other risk partners. We have to be able to collaborate with fraud operations leaders that are, fighting fraud at that ground level, creating processes, controls, trying to manage losses. So we have to support them in having this overarching holistic view and help them navigate the complex environment of, on top of the, prevention, detection, and strategies, like how do we implement good controls and how do we make those work for us in addition to everything else. So I definitely am blessed for a super supportive, intelligent, collaborative team that consistently goes above and beyond. We nail that and it's needed and we're very, very proud.
Love that. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
What's something that your team does really well that you're proud of?
They talk to each other. They recognize each other. They collaborate with each other. There's no disconnect between the fraud and AML teams. Anytime there's an issue, we're pinging each other. Hey, I'm filing this SAR. It's due to FinCEN by this date. We actually set something up in Power BI where it sends them an automatic notification now. So we're not having late SARs anymore. I love that about a small bank. So being before with the bigger bank and now a small bank, I can't imagine my life going back to a big bank.
Yeah. What does your team do really well that you're very proud of?
Gosh, I feel like everything, to be honest. I think we collaborate really well. We're very involved in a lot of different networks, the IAFCI, the ACFE, some more local groups, things like that. I think we collaborate really well. We use 314B, the FinCEN collaboration and information sharing platform, to try to stop and prevent fraud. It's more than just, again, check marking boxes. We're not box checkers. We have hearts. We work together really well. We care. We express a lot of empathy. We take that time that maybe our frontline staff don't have to get to the heart of things and make sure that people feel supported through some of the tougher times.
So what does your team do that you're really proud of, that they do well? What is one thing that your team does really well that you're proud of?
I am proud of how they are able to talk to and assist our frontline, and our frontline, as well as my fraud team specifically, are able to talk to and assist our members when things are going wrong.
I think that is so great. It's so important to truly understand how important that conversation is, making sure that we have empathy and just how we overall remember that there's a human behind that transaction.
Right. So, making them all realize that it's it's a conversation, not an interrogation. It's how you're phrasing things and how you're handling.
I love that you just said that. That's so perfect. What does your team do really well that you're proud of?
Stopping fraud. I know this is cliche. I know it's a very cliche.
It's okay.
But we are really good at targeting fraud, understanding fraud, and reducing losses. So we're really now moving into the space of fraud prevention instead of loss prevention, and getting the awareness and the narrative and the executive sponsorship of understanding that CX is a part of fraud. I'm going to use my cliche statement.
Please do. Please do.
Fraud prevention is the new customer service, and fraud is not friction.
I love it.
Or fraud is the new friction.
Yeah. Love it so much. What does your team do really well that you're proud of?
Again, they work as a team. So everybody works well, covers down on issues that aren't able to be resolved at one time. So everybody you don't just have one thing, not just checks or just ACH or just check, whatever the type of fraud may be. They don't concentrate on that one thing. They all work together.
I love that. A real true team. What does your team do really well that you're proud of?
I have an amazing team. We work together. They communicate very well. And again, it gets back to knowing your customer and sharing knowledge. I think our group is number one dedicated to protecting our customers and the bank, and I think training within the department and understanding each other's roles and backing each other up. But I think customer interaction still and knowing those behaviors and communicating is huge.
Absolutely. All right. What stood out to me most while putting this episode together was how consistent the underlying message really was. Fraud fighters are tired. The environment is changing so fast, and the pressure is real. But there's also momentum happening right now. People are collaborating more, sharing more, building stronger networks, finding ways to move faster without losing that human side of this work. And I think that matters because the future of fraud fighting is not going to come from one tool, one platform, or one institution magically solving everything on its own. It's going to come from people who are willing to share what's working, people willing to ask questions, people willing to pick up the phone and help each other. And, that's what I saw at Fraud Fight Club. That's what I'm seeing with the IAFCI. And honestly, that's what I hope listeners take away from this series. I thank you so much to everyone who took a few minutes to sit down with me during the event and to share your perspective. And thank you to all who have been listening every week and continuing to push the industry forward. We are moving on to our 100th episode, and guys, I'm kind of freaking out. It's really exciting. So stay vigilant, stay informed, and keep moving fraud forward. Thanks for listening to Fraud Forward. Remember, every conversation, every connection, and every insight moves our industry one step closer to stronger fraud defenses. If today's episode sparked an idea, share it with your team or tag me on LinkedIn. I love hearing how you're moving fraud forward in your own organization. Until next time, stay curious, stay resilient, keep moving fraud forward.